Young people of Reddit, what is your biggest pet peeve about the older generations? How rude they are, and how they act so entitled. I hate the reverse line of thinking how entitled and rude they think millennials are. I've had a boomer lady get visibly upset with me for not wanting children in my life. I've seen the older generation ask why millennials aren't buying houses when they have it so easy nowadays. The evangelicals think it's a personal affront to their faith that my generation generally is atheist agnostic. Like, we are just trying to survive and do our own thing over here, man. I paid off my house by the age of 25. That's great. You probably paid like £20,000 total for it back in a time when a uni degree got you a job more than capable of supporting a family of 4 with a car and spending money. Nowadays an average house costs like £200,000 and people with degrees in microbiology are working at KFC. But sure, go off, Steve. Yeah, my parents bought their first house for $36K in 1978, and both had good union jobs without any college degree. Person to person blatant refusal to accept sexualities and gender identities. Because this is new. 2 genders, male and female, without the human species ceases. That's it. What has surfaced is wanting to separate it from what has come before. Creating identities based on emotions, not on biology. While true, some are unique, but are abnormal, since those numbers compared to human history is marked by fraction of a percent. Not normal. That's why the refusal exists. Emotions, egos do not shape reality. Feeling you're a boy today and girl tomorrow or a wolf the next day isn't reality based. That's wishing at best and wanting civilization to burn at worst. Now, this doesn't not mean being mean or cruel to people who wish to behave different, but not the same when these folks demand to be recognized as a legitimate people, their own tribe. They are not. This has been going on for a very long time. Most of it a phase they grow out of, like a goth existence. Not something we need to praise or hold high as some kind of pinnacle of human existence. Ooh, that's a toughie. Elder millennial here. Speaking generally about boomers. Biggest daily impact? Entitlement and general rudeness as customers. Ironic that they complain millennials are entitled. But biggest overall impact? That whole destroying the planet thing. Fox News gets honorable mention. As another elder millennial turning 38 next month, I love responding to their complaints about our generation with a puzzled look followed by, I'm a millennial. It always stops them in their tracks, because they all think millennials are teens with cell phones, not late 30-somethings with a career, a mortgage, a spouse, some kids, and a 401k. No offense, but as someone who is 24, it's hard for me to think of you as a millennial. I guess technically you are, but you were probably out of college by the time the iPhone came out, or close to it, right? Not saying you're not a millennial, I know what the date range is. I'm basically right on the line between millennial and Gen Z, and I probably identify closer with the latter in many ways. I'll be dead before it's my problem. The fact that they think that depression and mobile devices are hand in hand, while it's multiple other factors. I know for a fact I'm not depressed because I'm on Reddit. I'm depressed because I'm going to be released into society with no hope to succeed. It is a factor for many though. I'm Gen X and grew up without the internet, first online in 1994, when I was 19 years old. Had I been at school with Instagram, Facebook, etc., it would have been horrible, and I'm certain even more depressing. And the idea that you're going to be released into society with no hope to succeed is exactly when people of my age were saying after graduating. I remember sending off 182 letters and CVs and getting 3 replies, all saying thanks but no thanks. These are not new things, but thanks to social networking you're seeing it more, and you're also seeing all the curated social media feeds of others being successful, having more fun, better looking, etc., and that fuels anxiety and a feeling that you are not succeeding. I'd have hated to have grown up in an age of social media. Obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, but general unpleasantness towards people who are just trying to do their job. I recently saw an older gentleman scream at a cashier at the Habitat for Humanity restore for 10 minutes because they charged him $6 for 3 large floorboards instead of $5. The cashier and later Store manager reminded him that he had bought a bunch of boxes of the same flooring previously and they were $20 for 10 boards. The cashier tried explaining the math to him and he just kept yelling louder and louder that he wasn't going to ever come to the store anymore. They finally agreed to sell it to him for $5 and then he screamed at them because they charged him 6% tax on the sale as is required by state law, so 30 cents instead of a flat $5. Then when they weren't looking, he snuck to the back and stole another board. Is this attitude universal among old people? I guess your anger levels are higher when you get older. That's a people thing, not an older person thing. Really don't get how this is this top comment. Asking so many questions about my personal life, please. It's stressful. Leave me alone about how college is going and what job I'm getting and why I'm not looking for a job yet and how far my boyfriend lives. It's my business, not yours. Ah yes, so did you graduate? What job did you get? You're not working? What are you doing next year? And a boyfriend? Do you have a boyfriend? Which was your graduation grade? Martha, mind your business, we barely see each other once a month for a time span of 3 minutes. Millennial here 33. I have come to understand that older people will ask you and me these questions because that is what the social protocol they've been brought up to requires. Geez, I sound like Sheldon. In other words, this is how they have learned to start conversations in a social environment. The thing is, our generation doesn't see this type of conversation as relevant anymore, so to us it just feels weird, I guess. That being said, the older I get, the less I care about it and just roll with it. Old ladies who pinch your cheeks. I didn't ask you to touch my face. It hurts. Why would you do such a thing? It's about being alive and youth. Flesh if you like. The flesh they no longer have. Yeah. They're just trying to rip your skin off so they can have nice skin. And a sign that you're alive. That pink flesh and its bounce back is pretty much exclusive to youth. Got me thinking of a quote from the Fly 1986 remake. Seth Brundle, the computer is giving us its interpretation of a steak. It's translating it for us. It's rethinking it rather than reproducing it, and something is getting lost in the translation. Ronnie me, I'm lost. Seth Brundle, the flesh. It should make the computer crazy. Like those old ladies pinching babies. But it doesn't. Not yet, because I haven't taught the computer to be made crazy by the smiles at Ronnie flesh. The poetry of the steak. They don't know how to use technology. Seriously, I can't tell you how many times I've had to explain to my mother how to download and upload a file. It's probably nearing the 500s now. The worst part is that they never remember how to do it. As a result, they have to ask me every single time how to do the dang thing. That's just part of getting older. Times pass you by. Things move much quicker these days. It can be frustrating, but I understand it. I don't mind the fact they don't remember how to do it, but I hate it when they ask me to explain it, not bother to pay attention, and re-ask the next day. My grandpa on the other hand had no clue how to use the smartphone he bought, but he'd ask me to explain small things, pay attention, practice them, and, lo and behold, the next time, he'd show me he knows how to do them himself. How they flat out refuse to accept that anything can possibly be worse or more difficult now for young adults compared to how it was in their day. Do you know how much tuition is these days, Dad? No. Well, here's a webpage with it listed. Take a look. No. My parents think they are paying my tuition. While I really am grateful for the money I get from them, they don't realize it covers a fraction of my tuition. Well, when I was in college, I just worked part-time at the corner store, so I didn't need to take out any loans like these foolish kids nowadays. No joke, my dad's college plan for me was what he did in the 60s. Just work part-time at the college. Then you can go for free. Needless to say, that's not how it works now, and by now I mean 20 years ago, though I imagine it still holds true, so I never went. Thanks, Dad. The need for them to condemn the significantly younger generations for just about anything. Doesn't matter if it's right or not. They just like complaining about everything we do. Kind of human nature. People have been complaining about the younger generation for quite some time. Which is really super odd, because they are the ones who created the younger generation. Not only literally, They are the ones who parented and guided the younger generation. So, they are really criticizing their own parenting skills. Yeah, but every generation does that about the younger ones. It's not even out of spite that it happened to them. As a generation grows, it tends to become more curmudgeon. Not that everyone will, but it just happens. Just like younger generations have been complaining about the older ones. It's almost like the world is full of double standards or something. How much they despise technology and say back in my day. We're not in your day anymore, grandpa, which means I don't have to go out in the streets to have fun. It's about giving perspective. Not having just a singular answer, the internet. Not about operating with just apps. Not about being isolated by tech. Your gen has the highest suicide rate and pharmaceutical dependence. And we didn't need second per second validation to feel good about ourselves. You see, you need to have perspective or there is no past, only the now. That's a poor way to live, since you don't learn from history. It's not so much about staying sheltered and constantly inside all the time. It's more about how they get mad if you spend time inside instead of outside, and get mad if you don't live and have fun the way they once did. When they judge you for spending time on your phone or literally any other device and say you should go outside and play with your friends. We didn't have those things in our lives, and we still survived. I mean, how can I go out and play with my friends when most of my friends are indoors watching anime? I'm not that old, Gen X, but I do notice that younger people just don't go outside and play as much anymore. As a kid, the street would be full of kids playing football, riding bikes, messing about and doing stuff, but you just don't see it much these days. I thought it might be because of video games, but then I played loads of Nintendo and Amiga 500 when I was young, and also played loads outside. Why don't younger kids play outside that much anymore?